What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video here on Footy Talks. I know this video is coming out a bit late, but I am here with my reactions to this year's UCL Round of 16 second leg matches. And with those matches that have been played, we finally do have our quarterfinalists for this year's UCL. And as always, there is going to be a lot to unpack for sure. A lot of excitement, a lot of emotion, a lot of controversy as well, as we're going to get onto. But as always, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start looking into these matches that we had played out. So the first match that we had played out, it was between Barcelona and Benfica. Me as a Barca fan, I am really happy with the result, as Barcelona did defeat Benfica 3-1 at their home stadium. After what was a really difficult first leg match with, Pau Cubarsí getting that red card and Barcelona playing almost the whole match with 10 men only, and still in some way finding a way to get a 1-0 win away at Benfica Stadium. And for them to come back, to their home stadium and to just win the tie overall 3-1, I really do think it's great. I think that Barcelona did really need that win, considering what they have been going through as a club with the loss of their, first team doctor. Barcelona really did need that because of how far they have been going in this competition, and then after what they had gone through with their doctor. So it was a really great win. We had Rafinha scoring those two important goals, finding his form and goal scoring again. He's been really lethal this season. And then Lamine Yamal, man, what can we say about him? He's just such a gem, man. He's just such a gem. 17 years old to be scoring a pretty nice goal like that really looks like he put no effort into. What a goal. It was a great goal to see. A great match overall by Barca. You can't just single out Rafinha and Lamine just because of their goals scored, but also a lot of great matches by a bunch of the players like Frankie De Jong, Pedri, Araujo. I think he played pretty solid in place of Cubarsí, who was suspended for this match. And yeah, man, Barcelona, they're through to the UCL quarterfinals. And the next match we're going to be looking at, it is going to be between Lille and Dortmund. Now, in my last video, I did predict Barca going through, so that did end up happening. But on this side, I actually predicted, Lille to find a way to beat Dortmund, upsetting Dortmund and winning them. But the match didn't turn out in that way, as Dortmund did beat Lille away from home 2-1 after that 1-1 tie in Dortmund's home stadium. And man, at first I did think that Lille was going to win after scoring that first goal in the second leg. However, Dortmund, they just found a way to come back with those two goals, and also they did find a way to create a lot of chances. So it was just about putting away those chances, and they did find a way just to get past Lille. So now, for one of the first quarterfinal matches that we have, officially it is going to be Barcelona versus Borussia Dortmund. So that's going to be an exciting one to watch, and that's going to be one, as a Barca fan, that I'm most definitely going to keep an eye on for sure. Now, the next few matches that we have right here, we did have Inter Milan versus Feyenoord. Inter Milan coming away from that really big win away at Feyenoord 2-0. So they did come back home to the San Siro with a 2-0 advantage. And Inter, they start off the game pretty well, scoring the first goal. Feyenoord, they did find a way to, score in the second leg, which, was their only goal in the whole tie. But then afterwards, there was a penalty that was called for Inter's favor. Honestly, it is kind of controversial. I was seeing down in the comment sections for like the highlights and such that that second penalty, that penalty that was awarded to Inter. It was a dive, which, if you look at the replay and such, you could make of it what you would like. Leave down in the comments if you guys think that was a penalty or not. When I saw it, I could see, where it wasn't a penalty. But then anyways, Inter find a way to score that goal, making a tie 4-1, and kind of putting Feyenoord out of their sights. So that's Inter going through to the quarterfinal as well as another team. And on the other side, we had Bayern versus Bayer Leverkusen. Bayern winning with a big margin, 3-0 at their home against Leverkusen in the first leg. And then afterwards, like I did mention in my last video, I found it hard for Leverkusen to find a way back, especially with, Florian Wirtz out. So they didn't find a way back. I had predicted that they would have at least scored one goal, but unfortunately, they didn't manage to do that. Fortunately for Bayern fans, they didn't find a way to, score or anything like that. The game ended up 2-0 in favor of Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich going through to the quarterfinals. So that sets up the quarterfinals for that second match right there on the other side of the bracket, which is Inter Milan versus Bayern Munich. And man, do I have to say about Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, man. Harry Kane he's something for sure. He's a pretty good striker. He had that pretty lucky goal for the first one. It did land perfectly within his path just for him to glide it into the goal. But in the second goal, the way he set up Alphonso Davies for that one, it was pretty class pass. So that's most definitely going to be an exciting match to watch. Two really good teams as well. Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. So that's most definitely going to be another match to keep an eye on. Moving on to the other side of the bracket. On the other side of the bracket, we had Liverpool versus PSG. This one being one of the most anticipated matches, especially after the first leg. PSG dominating over Liverpool in all aspects, from chance creation to possession and so forth, but somehow Liverpool finding a way to come away from the Parc de France with 1-0. So Liverpool went into the second leg with a 1-0 advantage. And I had predicted this game to be a little bit more open, which in this case it was. However, PSG was still a threat. In the match, PSG, they did find a way to score a goal. The goal, it was pretty scrappy in my opinion. It had been a great play between, the PSG front line, Dembele picking up the ball from deep and passing it to the right winger. Right winger passes it back, and in trying to stop the goal, and so I'm trying to stop the ball from reaching Dembele, it actually, deflected it just enough for him to be able to get the ball and put it in an empty net. And that made the score 1-0. So that was only match throughout the whole tie. That was only goal throughout the whole match. The match did end up going to extra time, and then it did even go to penalties. And that is where PSG, they did end up overcoming Liverpool when it came to the penalties. The penalty score being 4-1 in favor of PSG, with that sending PSG through to the quarterfinals. In all honesty, I was kind of shocked that PSG did go through, which, may be a little controversial for, the PSG fans watching, or, the people that saw, PSG play in that first match. But hear me out. Don't just at me yet. It's because Liverpool, throughout the whole season, I think have been one of the best teams in Europe so far. They're doing really well in the Premier League. They also, did really well in the group phases of the UCL Round of 16. And they even finished first on top of every other team. All the other teams, including PSG, which PSG, mind you, they were pretty far down when it came to the league table. And man, no one expected Liverpool to be knocked out this early. If anything, they expected Liverpool to go all the way to the UCL final. And I thought that too. I thought that Liverpool, with that one goal advantage, they will find a way to overcome PSG. But PSG, although I'm not a big fan of them, I do have to give credit where credit's due. They played some great football out there. They play a really great match, dominating one of the best teams in Europe. And it's all props to, Luis Enrique, helping to build a young, strong PSG squad. After PSG, they've struggled a lot whenever it came to Europe and such. They're domestically, they usually don't struggle. They always win it almost every year. But PSG, they did beat one of the best teams in Europe. And I do think that they're a team to look out for sure. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Champions League because PSG, they could be something in the Champions Leagues. But so far, they should be a team to keep an eye out for. Now, on the other side of that, we had Aston Villa versus Club Brugge. Aston Villa coming away with that really important win from Club Brugge's home stadium. The match ended 3-1, and Aston Villa was coming home with an advantage, 3-1. I didn't think that Club Brugge was going to come back at all. I did not feel that whatsoever. And I kind of predicted that Aston Villa was going to go through, which they did. And in really convincing fashion, it looks like the score, it did end 3-0. And again, Club Brugge in this second leg, they did end up getting another red card, which was pretty early on as well. So that didn't really help Club Brugge's aspirations for a comeback. So, you had that red card early on, and then the 3 goals to follow afterwards. Aston Villa goes through, and now they're going to be up against PSG. So in that match, we have PSG versus Aston Villa, and that's going to be a match to keep an eye on more than anything, just to see how PSG progresses in this competition. So that's one of the other quarterfinal side that we have to look out for. And moving on to the last quarterfinal match that we have. Now the last matches we're going to be looking at, they are the last 2 matches that are going to be setting up the last quarterfinal matches that is going to be really anticipated. We had Arsenal going up against PSV. PSV, although I thought they were going to come back against Arsenal from that first leg defeat, it didn't end up happening. I really did have hope in PSV to come back. But, you know what? Arsenal, they found a way to just scrape through. Again, PSV fans, I'm so sorry. So sorry about this. But yeah, on all seriousness now, Arsenal fans. Arsenal, they came away from PSV's home stadium with that really huge 7-1 win. And since that match, there really wasn't any hope for PSV to pass through. Arsenal were pretty much technically already through. It was just a matter of how much more they would have scored, or if they would have just stayed content with the draw, 0-0, no one scoring. The match ended 2-2. Arsenal ending up with a win over aggregate. A huge win, which the aggregate score ended in 9-3 in favor of Arsenal. PSV at least did manage to score 3 against Arsenal, so I guess there's that to be happy about. But yes, Arsenal going through to the quarterfinals. Now, on the other side of the quarterfinals, and one of the matches we do have to discuss, it is going to be Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. Yeah. I'm glad I took a few days to process this match right here. Just because, not even as a Barcelona fan, but more as a neutral fan. There was a lot of controversy to this match, and even up till now, I still do think there is controversy in this match. And for those of you guys that didn't watch the match or haven't seen the highlights, I would recommend, going to watch those because there are spoilers to come. Okay, so let's get into this match. So, Real Madrid had won Atletico Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu 2-1. Atletico were coming into the second leg match needing to score one goal at least to have it leveled on the aggregate, or score more than one goal if they wanted to go through fully against Madrid without Madrid scoring anything. So this second leg match between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid at the Wanda Metropolitano, it did start off really quickly with a goal from Atletico Madrid. Started off with the goal in the very first minute, and then afterwards the game, it was pretty dull in all honesty. For those of you watching, it was pretty dull in all honesty. I don't think anyone recalls much of what happened from that first goal up until a penalty that happened in the second half. A penalty given in favor of Real Madrid, which Vini, my God, he flew that penalty so bad. Oh my God. Who knows what he was trying to do? He's probably trying to score a field goal because he thought it was American football. I don't know, but Vinicius, he misses a penalty by far, putting it well over the goal. Not sure why it was given to Vinicius when you have Mbappe as, pretty good penalty scorer, as shown in World Cup finals, and, for PSG. I don't understand why it was given to Vinicius, who, in all honesty, he was slandered for having a really bad game. He was even taken out before the penalty shootouts, which, honestly, probably helped out Madrid, not that they needed any more help. So yeah, the match being 1-0 throughout the whole time, the match, it did even end up going to extra time, and then we go to the penalties. Now the penalties, this is where the controversy was. Again, for those of you that haven't watched the highlights, I suggest you go ahead and watch them. But this is where the big controversy lies. And I'm not gonna lie, as just a neutral fan, not even as a Barca fan, because I'll be honest, this tie, it doesn't directly affect Barca at all. If anything, and it sounds messed up, it probably benefits, Barca, as they do have a league game against Atletico coming this Sunday, tomorrow. And it benefits Barca in a way that, Atletico's morale is probably low after this knockout from Real Madrid. But moving on to the controversy, so there was a penalty by Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez, he did step up to take, I believe it was the second or third penalty. I'm not sure. Don't at me. Comment down below. But in this penalty, Julian Alvarez, he did end up slipping, but he made the goal. And at very first glance, even as a viewer or at the time of watching the penalty shootouts, you weren't able to see, but I guess Julian Alvarez ended up touching the ball twice when he slipped. So as he was slipping and taking a shot, apparently Julian Alvarez, he did end up touching the ball 2 times, which, and I'll be honest, I didn't even see it, at first glance when the penalty shootout was happening. And even during the replays, they're being published after the penalty shootout. It's kind of hard to tell in most angles. And in the moment, it was all really confusing because Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid, they were level on the penalty shootouts. It's not like Atletico Madrid was at a disadvantage or anything like that. But it was up until that goal was disallowed. So VAR had intervened right after that penalty was taken, and before Real Madrid's player, I think it was Fede Valverde, he was going to take a penalty. And almost in an instant, in like 20 seconds or so, Atletico Madrid, sorry, they get that penalty denied. And keep in mind, nobody really knows why they didn't bother to show a replay of the penalty, or the ref didn't even bother to go look at it for himself, or didn't even bother to explain the reason why in the moment. They just flat out denied that penalty as if Julian Alvarez missed it. And then that really did spark up a lot of controversy. Again, in the moment that I was watching it, I was pretty frustrated with that decision as a neutral, and I was even confused. And looking back at that footage that they put out there, I am still not 100% sure that Julian Alvarez touched the ball. The angles I looked at various angles, one from his right side from where he was taking the penalty, there's one from the back, and then one directly looking down at him, and then one even looking at the left side. It still is kind of unsure if he really touched the ball or not. But that's the thing about Real Madrid, it's not a coincidence that Real Madrid, they do have these controversial calls, especially when it comes to the UCL. And again, don't at me, Real Madrid fans, but this is one of the many calls that have been pretty controversial whenever it comes to the UCL. And, that penalty, it kind of did throw everything off. I don't know, Atletico Madrid, they probably could have done better during the 90 minutes to try to score more goals after starting off so well. But Simeone, man, for some reason, he just chose to sit back and, absorb pressure or let Real Madrid create, which in reality, Madrid didn't really create much. Atletico, though, they're the only ones that they have to look at. And with that, it is what it is. I mean, do I agree with the decision of the penalty? I really don't. I think if anything, it was handled kind of quickly and kind of poorly in the moment. I think, it should have been reviewed with a bit more time, or if that was the case, the penalty probably should have been taken again. But it is what it is, and that sends Real Madrid through to the quarterfinals against Arsenal. So that does set up one of the last quarterfinal ties, and it is definitely going to be a match to keep an eye on for sure when it comes to Real Madrid and Arsenal. And Atletico fans, I really do feel for you guys that you guys do have to go through that. As a neutral, I do feel for you guys. I'm really glad that my club Barcelona didn't have to go through any of that, but do feel for you guys, Atletico and Real Madrid fans. Like I said, don't at me in the comments, just my simple opinion. But feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comments below of that really controversial call when it came to Atletico Madrid's penalty being denied and putting Real Madrid in an advantage. Let me know down in the comments below. So with all that being said and done, we do have our final 8 for this year's UCL, and our quarterfinalists. The quarterfinals on one side being Barcelona versus Borussia Dortmund, Bayern versus Inter Milan, and on the other side of the bracket we have PSG versus Aston Villa, and then Real Madrid versus Arsenal. These are the quarterfinals that we do have right here. I know that in my last video I kind of did predict something a bit different, like it being Liverpool versus Aston Villa, which again does come as a bit of a shock to me that Liverpool is knocked out, but it is what it is. That's PSG versus Aston Villa right there. And then, I don't know, I kind of did make a prediction against Borussia Dortmund to lose against Lille, but Dortmund did find a way to come through. So we have Barcelona versus Borussia Dortmund. And that's going to be an exciting match for sure, as you know, they already did face each other once in this competition with Barcelona coming out on top. So that's probably going to be something for Barca to consider and to keep an eye on for these two matches to come. But we're going to have to go and see how that plays out right there. And then it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting for sure. These next quarterfinals to come. These next quarterfinals, they are going to be until April 8th and 9th to be particular. So we do have a lot of time from here till then. And I am for sure going to be making a prediction video for those quarterfinal matches, the first leg matches that are to come. And yeah, man, it's going to be really exciting. So for those of you guys that did tune in, again, I really do appreciate you guys for watching the video. It really does mean a lot to me for those of you guys that are tuning in to watch these videos. I am going to try to have a more consistent uploading schedule, and then try to improve the quality of each of these videos as they're to come. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and then share this video. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of anything I discussed in this video, whether it was the Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid match, Liverpool being knocked out by PSG, Barcelona versus Benfica, my team right there, or any of the other matches. With all that said, again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.